Stephen Curry has never been your typical NBA superstar, and that goes beyond his deep threes and revolutionary style of play. As he revealed in a recent interview with Complex's Speedy Mormon, during the height of the Golden State Warriors' dominance, Curry used to hop on social media at halftime even when they were losing by double digits. "I used to be on what was Twitter back when Vine was a thing. I was part of that whole wave. I used to send snapshots to my people, like do my own kind of in-game interview. We'd be down 16 and I'd take a selfie like this, like, what we about to do? Just having fun with it. I've slowed down a little bit. As you get older, the recovery part of halftime becomes a big deal, so I've got to use my energy a lot differently." We had some irrational confidence, especially in that window when people started asking about it. My favorite one, this lady named Korath Burke, she worked for NBC Sports Bay Area. The story kind of got out that I like to look at my phone during halftime, which was true. One time she was on Twitter and added me saying, "If you're reading this, do an airplane celebration after your first three in the second half." Just threw a shot in the dark. I saw it, hit a three, and did it. That famous Warriors' irrational confidence wasn't just a meme. It was a mindset. Down 16? That was nothing for a team that could explode for 20 points in 5 minutes. Curry embodied that swagger, and part of it meant staying loose. So while most players used halftime to recover and refocus, Steph was browsing mentions, checking Twitter, and sometimes even accepting dares. One such moment came when NBC Sports Bay Area's Korath Burke posted a playful tweet. Curry admits those days are mostly behind him now. At 37, he's focused more on recovery, hydration, and maintaining his body during those precious few minutes in the locker room. Yet he's reflective enough to acknowledge that his behavior may have set a precedent. What started as a quirky superstition or boredom breaker eventually became an example of how drastically the NBA's culture has shifted in the digital age. Now, Curry often sits at halftime and looks around the locker room, everyone glued to their screens, while he stays quiet, the veteran in the room, knowing the grind is different at 37. But make no mistake, Steph Curry still has fun. He's still the same player who once took a selfie down 16 and laughed in the face of pressure. He's just wiser now. Sometimes that means putting the phone down and picking up the win. As the Golden State Warriors have now dragged themselves through a month of the offseason, their contract standoff with Jonathan Kuminga remains unresolved. While there is still hope for an amiable resolution on both sides, the most likely outcome, which includes a short-term, tradable deal for Kuminga, represents a disastrous scenario for the Warriors, decreasing Kuminga's trade value and leaving his fit on the team in question. While Golden State's front office has made it clear they would like to bring Kuminga back, the most value he brings to the organization is through a trade, and it is possible that the team has missed their chance to maximize this value. Kuminga on a short-term deal is less than ideal for the Warriors. Heading into the offseason, it was heavily rumored that the discrepancy between Kuminga's camp and the Warriors' front office on both his role and pay grade would lead to a sign-and-trade this offseason. Such a deal would have likely netted Golden State a valuable return that could have bolstered their roster and helped fine-tune their rotation around Jimmy Butler and Steph Curry. Instead, as the market has gone cold on restricted free agents this summer, the Warriors have been unable to find an adequate return for Kuminga, and, as far as it is publicly known, no team has been willing or able to meet their asking price of a young player and a first-round pick. Therefore, as the standoff drags on, it is becoming more likely that Kuminga's camp will be willing to sign a short-term, tradable deal that will bring him back to Golden State and allow him to be moved closer to the trade deadline next season. According to NBA insider Jake Fisher, this currently stands as the most likely scenario, yet he notes that he thinks it's going to be important for both sides that Kuminga is still active and eligible to be dealt once December 15th comes around. This means that, even if the Warriors were able to bring Kuminga back, it would likely be for the purpose of trading him at a later date. However, by bringing him back while his fit on the roster remains questionable, Kuminga could certainly tank his trade value through continued disputes with the coaching staff. In order to maximize his trade value, the coaching staff will need to give Kuminga heavy minutes, but is that something they are willing to do for such a significant chunk of the season? In short, Golden State may have missed their chance to capitalize on Kuminga's playoff resurgence, and they must now hope and pray that Kuminga retains his trade value if they bring him back. Rumors continue to swirl this NBA offseason, this time involving LeBron James and the Golden State Warriors. James is nearing the end of his legendary career, even though he has yet to confirm if next season will be his last. He is under contract with the Los Angeles Lakers for $52.6 million, but it doesn't stop the rumor mill about him possibly teaming up with Stephen Curry and the Warriors. NBA insider Mark Stein went over the Warriors' history of having interest in James, pointing back to February 2024. While it may not be substantial, it is possible that they can be in the mix of the star forward wishes to compete outside of Los Angeles. I believe that the Warriors, who have shown an interest in acquiring James dating to the February 2024 trade deadline some 18 months ago, will remain in the mix if James ever does reach the point that he's looking for a last hurrah elsewhere, Stein said. What lies ahead for Warriors amid LeBron James rumors? Mark Stein has a lot of expertise with his connections in the NBA world. It is substantial for LeBron James and the Warriors to continue being on the radar in the offseason and next season as rumors. In the meantime, the Warriors progress through the summer with questions to answer. They still have yet to resolve their situation with Jonathan Kuminga, who seems to not be in a rush to get a deal done. His desire to have the best role along with a high salary are reasonable, though it doesn't put Golden State in a good spot salary cap-wise. The Warriors are also chasing key targets to bolster their depth, namely Al Horford. They lost Kevin Looney to the New Orleans Pelicans, making the center position a major need for the squad. If Golden State wants to succeed, they must navigate their offseason in the best manner possible. The Golden State Warriors are at a standstill with Jonathan Kuminga. Over 3 weeks have gone by since the start of free agency, and things have been quiet on the Kuminga front for the most part. It's halted the Warriors' offseason. If only Golden State had traded Kuminga before now. In January 2024, Shams Charania tweeted that Kuminga had lost faith in Steve Kerr. It came after Kerr benched the forward during the Warriors' loss to the Nuggets. Making his displeasure public was a risky move by Kuminga, with many people agreeing it was something that should have been handled in-house. It seemed like there was a chance then that Kuminga could have been traded before the February deadline. In retrospect, the Warriors should have jumped on that opportunity. Between then and the end of the 2024-25 season, Kerr never granted Kuminga's wish for an increased role. Entering restricted free agency this summer, Kuminga told The Athletic's Anthony Slater that he wants to see what he can accomplish when given a chance, something he said hadn't happened yet, subscription required. He thinks he can be a multi-time All-Star. Maybe the Warriors thought so too a year and a half ago, which is why they held on to him. Warriors shouldn't be in this position with Jonathan Kuminga. Kuminga's value on the free agency market isn't what he thought it'd be, and Golden State isn't getting what it wants in a potential sign-and trade. Shams made that much clear again on Thursday, stating that the Suns and Kings had made concrete offers for Kuminga, but the Warriors weren't moved. Golden State doesn't want to let him go for nothing, which could happen next summer if he picks up his $7.9 million qualifying offer for the season. He'd become an unrestricted free agent next offseason. If you think that sounds ideal for Kuminga, it doesn't. For starters, he wants more money than that now, and the kind of offer he wants might not be on the table next season. You can see why this is such a complicated situation. It's easy to look back on a past situation and say what you should have done differently. Hindsight is 20/20. However, in Golden State's case, the answer seemed obvious even then. Kerr and Kuminga's issues persist. The forward was benched in the playoffs until Steph Curry got hurt. It's a never-ending cycle. Hopefully, the Warriors will be able to put a stop to it. Kuminga isn't going to be the featured player on a team with Steph. He certainly won't be the featured player on a team with Steph and Jimmy Butler. Golden State is in a predicament that it helped create. If only the Warriors could go back in time.